Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jackie and today I am so excited because we are going to talk about what my actual experience was like studying at DIS, which is the Danish Institute of Study Abroad. Now I think they changed it to Study Abroad in Scandinavia because not only do they have a campus in Copenhagen, Denmark, but they also have a campus in Stockholm, Sweden as well. So I'll let you know what my actual experience was like at this institution in Copenhagen. And I'll talk more about the process of getting the residence permit, what the cost and tuition is for a semester here at DIS, what the classes were like, the study tours, the overall environment and feel of the classrooms and school, what my housing situation was like, and other options that they provide as well, what it was like living in the city of Copenhagen and also being immersed into the culture. I'll also go ahead and talk about regrets that I had or some of the negative things that did happen to me while I was in Copenhagen, which isn't much, but of course, you know, we're all human. And even though you're in your dream country and it was such an amazing experience, things do happen, you know? So let's go ahead and get started. I'm very happy to talk about Denmark again, and I hope that this video helps all of you who want to study in Denmark in the next upcoming semesters of college, or you're just interested in studying abroad for the future. All right, so let's get started. So I studied in Denmark from August 2016 to December, so it was quite a while ago. And at least for my university, which was the University of San Francisco, I believe DIS was actually the only option they had for studying in Denmark. And after researching a lot about this institution and what the school was like, I fell in love and I knew that I wanted to go and study at DIS. So first, let's talk about getting your residence permit. So I believe you have to fill out the application a few months before actually traveling to Denmark. And then once you're in Denmark, the school actually takes you to the building where you apply for your residence permit. I don't remember too much about the experience, but it didn't take too long. We did go with a whole bunch of other students and they gave us this pamphlet of all the information, such as like our medical benefits, opening up a bank account, and just legal paperwork that you needed. The process was super easy in my opinion. You definitely need a residence card. I wish I still had mine, but I don't anymore. But you need this like little residence card, which is where you can go to the doctor, open a bank account, go to the library, I believe also work as well. So the residence permit is super important, and just happy that the school made it super easy for us. Getting the residence permit is not a part of your tuition. In Copenhagen, at least now in 2021 and 2022, it does cost $350 to get the residence permit. As for tuition for the fall and spring semester of this year and next year, the overall tuition is around $26,995. So it really depends if you have financial aid or if you have, you know, a lot of scholarships, things like that can really lower the price of tuition, but I will have to say that is pretty expensive. So really consider that before choosing this program. So for some people, I believe the tuition may be different as well because it could be the same price as how much the semester costs at your home university. However, this tuition pretty much covers everything from your food stipend, your housing. Your main core class will take you to a couple of trips in Europe, so different European countries, and also different Danish cities. So tuition covers all the travel expenses and hospitality, hotels, hostels in different countries as well. It'll cover different electives that you'll be doing throughout your program. It covers medical insurance and all of that as well. And also it covers laundry and transportation. So all of that is included with your tuition. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put a link down as well so you can look more into what it costs to go to DIS. So as for education programs and classes, there are so many classes that you can take to fulfill the requirements you need for your major at your university. So there's so many different courses. So you can take a bunch of business courses, computer science courses, economics, political science, architecture, design, psychology, sociology, so many different classes you can take. What I honestly love about their education program at DIS is the fact that they have a thing called study tours. Now, a study tour is when your main class, like your core class, you all go to a different country for a week, and they have all these things lined up for you. Like for example, say you're taking a computer science class, you'll actually go to Berlin, either Frankfurt or Hamburg. So say you're studying computer science and one of your main classes is on game development, programming, and practice. So for that, your class will go to Berlin or Hamburg or Frankfurt, so one of these cities in Germany. And while you're there in Germany, you'll go ahead and visit different companies, you'll meet with professional developers, you'll go to the Game Science Center in Berlin. They'll take you on walking tours all over the city. And I think that their study tours really helps you become passionate about what you're studying. It helps you to really grasp what you're learning in your classroom, because your classroom is Europe pretty much. And you're talking to actual professionals in the field in a different country, how, you know, the technology world works for them. You're having conversations during lunchtime, and maybe you're going to dinner with a bunch of developers in Berlin. So it's a really awesome experience. I think they do a really great job of really planning out the week for you and doing all these, of course, educational, but also fun things throughout the week. You'll have delicious food. You'll get to stay in pretty nice hotels or hostels throughout the week, and you just get to meet new kinds of people. I think it's such an awesome experience for these study tours. So you'll really get involved with what you're learning, what the history is like in that country. And this was probably one of the best things about studying at DIS. All right, so let's talk about the school and the classrooms. All right, so DIS wasn't like this huge university that you may think of when you think of like any university that you ever go to. But it was actually just a bunch of different buildings in Copenhagen, cute little Danish buildings where your classrooms were, where the library was, where, you know, different admin offices were. So it was just different buildings in Copenhagen. Also, Copenhagen really isn't a huge city as well. So I pretty much walked to all my classes. My apartment was just like down the street from all of my classes, so it was honestly such an easy commute as well. A lot of students also bike to their classes because everyone bikes in Copenhagen. It's just a huge part of the culture. So it was a very cozy environment, I would say. Going into the school, I just felt such a hygge feeling inside, as you can see. I talk all about hygge on this channel as well, but it was so cozy. The lighting is a huge part of Danish culture and Danish homes, so it was very like warm. The classrooms felt very fresh, and there were small classes as well. It was around 10 to 20 students per class, and it was more of a discussion-based classroom as well, so we would all sit in circles and just talk. It was very cozy, very comfy. Teachers were not intimidating. You could just talk to them about anything. You call them by their first name as well. We had dinner with our teachers sometimes. Whenever we'd go to our study tours, we'd have dinner with them and just talk about life and their experiences living in Denmark and, you know, teaching and all of that. It was a good environment. I always felt very, very hygge in school. But it was more of a smaller school, so I think most of the learning was really outdoors. So we'd always travel whenever we were in class. We'd go to different cities, different parks in the area. And it's like Copenhagen was our classroom. So that's why we didn't spend too much time indoors, especially during the summertime. Of course, during wintertime, we were more indoors, but you know. And of course, I just loved being in the city. I love the city so much. I just love that after classes, you can just do so many fun things and explore right afterwards. So I definitely loved the whole classroom and school environment at DIS. Now I'm going to talk about my housing situation and what it was like living in Copenhagen. So yes, so for housing, there are different options that you can choose. Alright, so you can choose to live in a homestay, which is where you live with your Danish family throughout your whole experience at DIS. That is one option. You can also do the living and learning community, which is what I did actually. So the living and learning community was one of the best decisions I've made while living in Denmark, because this option is where you get to live with people who are like-minded. So you get to live with several students who have the same interests as you. So for example, you may live in an apartment with all the students who love gardening, who love performing arts, which was mine. So basically it's like a house of people who like the same things as you. So to me it was awesome because we got to learn so much about cultural engagement, the community, and also personal growth as well. and we got to eat dinner together all the time, cook for each other, and we did a whole bunch of like performing arts things together. Like we had to create this song, but like in a very interesting way. And then for one weekend we had to go away to this like immersive arts, performing arts house. It was interesting. I don't know, I can't explain this place where we went, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it right over here, the website to where we went, because it was one of the craziest like art experiences of my life, I would say. And till this day, I can't even quite explain what it was. But that is where I lived, pretty much, and all the students were from DIS. You can also live in a collegium. So collegium is like student housing, but you live with other students that are local students, or students who go to different universities, and other international students. So it's not just DIS students, but it's students from all over the city. If you want to meet different kinds of people, this would be a great option for you. Or you can just live in a residential community, which is just like, you know, standard dorms where you live in an apartment with other DIS students, but there really isn't a specific interest that you're all coming together, such as where I lived, which was all performing arts. You're just students living together in a Danish apartment, and yeah. And you will have to share a bedroom with someone if you lived in my learning community, if you live in a residential community, or if you live in the collegium. If you live with a Danish family, probably you won't have to share a room with anyone. For me, I did live in the city on the weekdays, but on the weekends, I would go ahead and live with a Danish family. There's more of my experience on that, on what it was like living in Denmark and what my experience was like. So I'll go ahead and link that right over here for you if you want to learn more about my experience with my Danish family as well. And so for me, I lived right in the middle of Copenhagen. It was just so much fun. I loved living in Copenhagen because, you know, you go downstairs, and once you're downstairs, there are so many restaurants and cafes and just so many interesting things in the city. Again, I talk more about my experience right over here in this video, but it was just a wonderful time that I had in Denmark. You know, a lot of European cities they're very peaceful in my opinion. They're not as huge as major cities here in the US. It's filled with history, with colorful architecture, where it's like ancient history right over here, and then there's modern history right over here, and like right next to each other. So it was beautiful seeing that all the time. It got pretty cold around October or November, and so that's when I had to wear my puffy jackets, and it did snow, but it didn't snow too bad actually. I love the cold weather, but then I also missed my California weather as well. But it was definitely a beautiful city. I would love to go back to Denmark again with my husband and visit different cities and just explore more and really see what Denmark is like as someone who has matured and is no longer a college student, and I just want to go back and explore. I would say because I went to DIS, wasn't really immersed into the culture as much as I would like. As far as Danish culture, I mean, the school did a great job in having you go to different cities and learning about the history and, you know, going to different countries as well. However, I didn't meet too many Danish people as I would have wanted to. I would have loved to make more Danish friends and really see what Danish college students do, you know, like on the weekends, things like that. But I didn't really get to do that, honestly. I wish I had more experiences with Danish students because, of course, we're all American at DIS. I did get to obviously live with my family, which is where I learned the majority of like what Danish culture is, how Danish families are. So if you really want to be immersed in the culture, I would recommend staying with a family or at least having a host family for the weekend. So much fun. I loved it. Probably living with the family was the top experience for me as far as being at DIS, because I think DIS did a great job in finding really good families for their students. All right, and now for the reality of the negative aspects of DIS. Things I regretted about, you know, being over there. Okay, so I honestly wish that I was able to work when I lived in Denmark. To be honest with you, I wasn't as financially smart when I was in my early 20s, when I was in college. I didn't think a lot about money, which is my regret, because it's so important to be financially smart. So I just wish I worked more, and that could have really helped with the tuition of the school, because, you know, I feel like sometimes students take for granted where they're going, what they're learning, how much money they're spending when they're outside studying abroad. And it's a really great experience, but it is expensive, so I did wish that I worked. I think for DIS, you do have the opportunity to work at the school. And I think with the residence permit, you can also apply for a job as well. So look into that if you decide to study in Denmark. I also wish I did not date anyone while I was studying abroad. And I wasn't dating anyone in Europe, in Denmark. I was actually dating someone back home, which was not a good relationship, I'll have to say. So I felt like because of dating someone back home, that really took away time from really having the best time in Denmark. So unless you really, really love that person that you're with at home here in the US, I would just say it's not smart to date when you're gonna be off, you know, just exploring and being in a new country and, you know, learning and trying to just grow as a person away from your family. And when you're in a whole new country, I just think that dating someone and being tied down to someone isn't the best when you're away. Honestly, I wish I didn't, but anyway, that was the past, so can't go back in the past. So that's advice if you do study abroad. And also, I would just wish that I met more Danish students, because, I mean, that's the whole point of living in Denmark, is meeting Danish people, seeing what they're actually like, but I felt like I was around a lot of American students. Overall, I'm just so grateful that I had this experience. I also did feel lonely at times, you know, I did feel lonely, especially when winter was coming, the winter blues, when it was getting dark at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Not every moment was perfect for me, even though I was in my dream country. I've always wanted to live in Denmark. So overall, I would definitely recommend studying at DIS, but only if it's within your means of tuition and what you can afford. And also, they really take care of their students. It's very safe. You know, nothing really crazy happened to me at all. And I think it's definitely worth it. I am here if you need me, and sending love to all of you. Sending love to my Danish people as well. And yeah, I will see you all in my next video, everyone. Bye!